Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on, well, a unique exploration into some truly fascinating source material we've received. This deep dive is all about the powerful energies, coursing through July and how they're poised to impact both our personal lives and the collective human experience. Our mission, as always, is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight, offering you basically a shortcut to being well-informed. What our sources describe is, well, an extraordinary influx of cosmic light this month. They detail its effects on individual spiritual awakening, the collective consciousness, and they offer some incredibly practical guidance for navigating these changes. It presents a really compelling perspective, almost like a personal roadmap for July. Okay, let's unpack this. This material offers a truly unique blend of, spiritual insights and real-world applications, and I'm eager to explore its relevance for your daily life. So at the very heart of this month's energetic shift, our source material introduces this concept of a divine solar spark. It explains that waves of light from the sun in July are specifically intended to ignite this spark within each of us. It's described as an eternal spark from the source, or maybe a golden ember of the spirit. Basically, the source posits it as an inherent fundamental divine potential within every single individual. And get this, it's portrayed as the official beginning of a countdown to the great event. Now, sources don't detail what this great event entails exactly, but they imply a significant global shift or a culmination of these energetic changes.
Right, and one particularly intriguing point is how the awakening of this inner light isn't about, striving or forcing it. The source tells us that as this inner light awakens, synchronicity will naturally just, spin around you, effortlessly drawing support and blessings. It even connects this to that ancient star hovering over a sacred birth, suggesting that just as that star guided, your inner light will magnetize what you need, simply by aligning with it.
Okay, and with this powerful inner light emerging, the sources really hone in on one primary focus for individuals in July, creating a quiet and loving inner cradle for this cosmic ember. How does this source suggest we, build this inner cradle practically?
Well, it's not about grand gestures, interestingly. It's more about simple daily rituals. To foster this inner cradle, the sources suggest, waking before sunrise, perhaps. Just sit in silence and listen to the world around you. Or maybe going outside at dusk without devices to fully feel the energies of the night. Even walking barefoot on the earth and breathing until your heartbeat kind of aligns with the earth's pulse is recommended. It's like a gentle recalibration, really, for your nervous system. The key, the sources emphasize, isn't what you do, but the sincerity of your quietude. That's the important part.
Right, sincerity. And the outcomes promised with this inner stillness are quite intriguing, feeling an ancient caravan of blessings approaching. The material suggests that modern sages will appear as unexpected help, generous opportunities will arise, and what it calls magical solutions will manifest. It paints such a vivid picture, doesn't it? Like the universe conspiring to support your newly awakened light. It's almost like a powerful affirmation that when you align internally, external circumstances can shift in surprisingly benevolent ways. Okay, so now having explored those profound inner shifts, let's broaden our lens a bit. How are these July energies impacting the collective consciousness? Because what's happening within us is mirrored on a larger scale, right? The sources describe a new wave of ultraviolet light emanating from the great central sun, that's the term they use, and passing through our sun's corona. This light is sweeping Earth in regular pulses, and it's apparently rapidly elevating the vibration of all beings.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, these higher frequencies have a profound cumulative effect on our sense of self, on our identity. The sources explain that aspects of life that once seemed really solid or important are now becoming fluid or even disappearing. This includes things like old memories, the social masks we all wear, even professional titles. These ancient layers are dissolving into what the source calls a bioplasma, essentially a highly fluid, energetic state that allows for profound inner restructuring so the true architecture of your soul can emerge. It's like the illusion about who you were taught to be is dissolving, allowing your authentic self to, shine through.
So with all this acceleration, this potential dissolving, what does the source advise for navigating it? It sounds simple, yet profound. Cultivate stillness within movement. That sounds incredibly challenging for many people in their busy daily lives, though. How does the source suggest we practically integrate that?
That's a great point. This is where intentional micro-pauses for grounding come in. It's about small, manageable steps. The sources detail several methods, like creating intentional pauses and gentle awareness throughout the day. It means consciously slowing down, maybe turning off devices for even just a minute, leaning against something living, like a tree, or just breathing deeply and slowly to relax the body. Even just 1 or 2 minutes of conscious breath, they say, expands your cells and nervous system, allowing that photonic data, or simply new energy information, to anchor without overwhelming you. It's like, plugging into a charger briefly throughout the day.
I like that analogy. And the sources underscore the importance of this grounding. Only a grounded and centered receptacle can translate these energies into clearer thoughts, kind words, wise actions, or brilliant inventions. It's described as literal maintenance for the crystalline light body you are building, which is a term the source uses for our evolving, higher vibrational energetic form.
Exactly. And this month's high frequencies are also described as strongly activating one's soul blueprint, which the source defines as a coded itinerary of experiences and gifts that your higher self planned before birth. It's kind of like your personal spiritual GPS getting a major update.
Okay, it's one thing to talk about soul blueprint activation, but how does the source say we'd actually feel that in our daily lives?
Yeah.
What are the tangible signs listeners might look for?
That's a really good question, because it does manifest in very tangible ways, apparently. You might find yourself feeling unexplained exhaustion or needing extra sleep. The sources say that's your body integrating these changes, recalibrating its path. But then on the flip side, you could wake up inspired, energized by a sudden idea, or feel a strong urge to revive a long-dormant project. These are described as your internal GPS realigning, basically guiding you towards your true path, your intended experiences.
Okay, so during this sensitive phase of attunement, the sources advise us to reduce external noise. That means news headlines, social media chatter, even, interestingly, popular spiritual predictions, and instead to amplify your inner listening.
Right, and for discernment, for figuring out what's true for you, they offer a simple heart-checking protocol. If you encounter an affirmation or a prediction, just pause. Place a hand over your heart, breathe deeply, and observe your body's response. If your chest warms or breath relaxes, the source suggests that's a yes from your heart's wisdom. But if your stomach tightens or breath becomes shallow, take it as a no. It's surprisingly simple, isn't it? Almost like your body has its own built-in truth detector. This practice, done regularly, becomes an infallible compass for detecting false urgencies or alarmism and recognizing that static from old systems.
Which really ties into the concept of sovereignty of consciousness, doesn't it? The idea that you actively choose which energies and ideas enter your field. This protocol really empowers that choice. Now, moving to the collective transformation, the sources announce a major human milestone that is, well, truly cause for celebration. They say that for the first time in ages, more humans now lean into hope and luminous possibilities than into fear and despair. They state that the balance is truly tipping towards the light, and that mass panic attempts are actually failing. It's fascinating that the source describes mass panic attempts as failing. What do they attribute this shift to? Is there a particular threshold or mechanism they describe for this tipping towards the light?
That's key. They attribute it to the sheer cumulative effect of individual awakening, like ripples spreading out. The source says, awakened light is like water in a desert. Even a single drop of genuine love or truth can create a growing oasis. Each loving perception, each kind act, or even just a whispered little thank you to the universe adds tangible power, like electrical charge to Earth's energy grid. And this, they say, short circuits outdated fear programs by essentially overwhelming them with a higher frequency. It's about reaching a kind of critical mass of conscious choice.
So the encouragement is to treat every encounter with negativity, whether it's in others or even within ourselves, as an opportunity to recode the hologram. That's a powerful frame.
It really is. When you're facing hostility, for example, the sources offer a technique. Strive to look beyond that moment's mask and recognize the spark of light still present in the other soul. They suggest silently affirming, I see your divine spark. I know your true light is in there. This isn't about ignoring the negativity, obviously, but looking past the temporary illusion to their deeper truth. The idea is it helps bring their own hidden light closer to the surface.
Right, and responding to harsh words with compassion or offering forgiveness or maybe giving unexpected help, that creates coherent waves of love.
Right.
The source says these waves travel further and do more good than any argument ever could. It actually elevates consciousness more powerfully than 1,000 fear-based transmissions. It's about changing the energetic fabric of the interaction itself. Okay, so as more people choose flow instead of force and curiosity instead of judgment, the sources say that linear time itself begins to loosen. What does that actually look like in practice for us? How would we notice that?
Well, you might experience this practically. For instance, a project that you thought would take weeks could suddenly wrap up in an afternoon. Or a wonderful conversation could just extend indefinitely, and nobody's even checking the clock. The sources explain that when you're fully absorbed in the present moment, external time can seem to magically accommodate you, and deadlines might adjust. It's almost like time itself becomes more elastic, more fluid. They encourage you to surf the synchronicity. Each morning, maybe set a gentle intention, like, show me how I can best serve today. And then allow the day to organize itself, following those natural impulses of enthusiasm and intuition. You might find things happen effortlessly, as if invisible hands are helping to arrange your schedule. It's really about letting life unfold with less resistance, less pushing.
And this is described as excellent rehearsal for living in a more fluid reality, training your consciousness for non-linear modes of life in what the Source calls the New Earth. In this potential future, opportunities could align instantly, telepathy might be possible, and displacement could happen via quantum leaps, which is a term used here to describe instantaneous travel or manifestation, apparently. So trusting divine timing now helps you transition with grace and lightness. So bringing it back, the core mission for July, as summarized by the sources, is surprisingly simple, isn't it? Stop frequently, breathe with intention, and allow your inner stillness to expand. That's it. This elevates your vibration and strengthens your heart's signal, from which intuition, compassionate choices, innovative solutions naturally flow. It's how you lay the energetic foundations of an enlightened civilization.
Yeah, and one particularly fascinating insight here is the paradox of grace and effort. It's not that effort disappears. While divine grace is flowing, human action still has a role, but it's different than you expect. The sources use that analogy of the sacred child's family continuing their diligent work even as wise visitors arrived. Grace, in essence, redirects effort to where it truly matters, making your actions more potent, less about struggle.
So this means engaging in true inner craftsmanship, consciously shaping your perspective. It means actively refusing thoughts of being less than or better than anyone else, and instead sculpting space in your mind to recognize that every person you encounter carries a spark of the same divine source.
So how do we engage in this inner craftsmanship in our daily interactions? What does that look like? It's through what they call micro acts of love and respect. Really small things. Concrete examples include, say, greeting a cashier while silently acknowledging their inner light, or responding to hostility with unexpected kindness, even just refraining from gossip. These acts are described as the modern-day gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Over time, they reconfigure the energy fabric of human society and shift the predominant tone towards care and unity. It's about these subtle but powerful energetic shifts adding up.
And the sources reveal that each compassionate choice releases pure light into the planetary grid. It apparently often appears as a cobalt blue filament lighting up within Earth's energetic web, strengthening channels for higher divine solutions like free energy, restored ecosystems, healing technologies. Your silent integrity is laying the foundations upon which miraculous innovations will land. That's quite a statement.
It is, but it also raises an important question. What about those who don't welcome this light? The sources do discuss ancient forces and institutions based in control and profit that feel, well, threatened by this shift in human consciousness. They react, the sources say, by amplifying manufactured fear through media, corporate warnings, maybe online algorithms. July's high frequencies, they say, actually bring these fear patterns more to the surface, making them more obvious for us to recognize.
Right, and the advice given is not to combat these fear projections directly, not to fight fire with fire, so to speak, but to see through their insubstantial nature, viewing them as holograms or empty images that cannot truly touch your inner light unless you invite them in. It's about recognizing them for what they are, essentially a distraction.
Exactly. And to do this, they offer a dynamic annulment technique. They describe it as a form of spiritual aikido. You imagine a transparent shield or screen rising between your heart and whatever the fear stimulus is. Then calmly declare in your mind, that energy finds no home here, or simply, not mine. Visualize the fear just sort of bouncing off your shield of clarity. This is described as redirecting and neutralizing negative force, conserving your energy for creative and constructive endeavors rather than getting drained by fear.
Interesting technique. The sources also introduce an invitation for each of you, especially ancient souls and veteran starseeds, which are terms used in this material to describe individuals with maybe a deep spiritual history or connection to cosmic origins. An invitation to create your own personal gesture of commitment to your inner divinity.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be grand or complicated, it just needs to be genuine. That's the emphasis. For one person, it might be building a small stone altar. For another, it could be simply placing a single wildflower on a windowsill daily as an offering to their inner divine. Authenticity is really the key.
And the power of this gesture lies in the sincere intention, which emits a clear, energetic signal that's recognized by benevolent intelligences and your stellar family, which seems to refer to your spiritual guides or perhaps cosmic origins, allowing them to draw closer.
Right. And you might receive subtle confirmations afterwards. Things like vivid spiritual dreams, clear intuitive messages, or even subtle physical sensations like tingling or seeing light flashes. These are described as signs that your gesture has been received and new alignments are opening. The sources really emphasize that authenticity is the only access code that unlocks deeper communions.
Another powerful teaching from the sources this month is about the true nature of grace. They state quite clearly, divine grace does not discriminate based on human notions of virtue or sin. It flows freely wherever it finds an open channel.
So what determines the reception of grace, then, isn't perfection. It's not how perfect you are, but how willing and disarmed you are in the present moment. It's that simple willingness to just say yes to the love and support of the universe without conditions.
And July's light, the sources explain, will illuminate any subtle bargains or conditions your ego has tried to impose on grace. Thoughts like, I deserve reward because I've meditated so much, or I'll forgive, but only after they apologize. They encourage us to simply laugh at these attempts gently and release those expectations.
To help with this release, they offer an effective mantra. Grace is ancient and unconditional. It is older than anything I have ever done. Repeating that can help to release the weight of needing to earn love, that feeling that we have to somehow deserve it.
Right. And when grace flows freely, the sources explain some interesting things might happen. Old tensions or emotional wounds may dissolve. And they even speak of junk DNA in your cells awakening, which in this context seems to refer to unlocking dormant, inherent potentials within our physical and energetic systems. This could lead to things like accelerated physical healings, more balanced sleep, or enhanced intuitive abilities. These are presented as organic results of becoming receptive, just as, flowers naturally bloom by a river when debris is cleared away. Okay, finally, there's a really profound insight from our sources. Every storm you experience in life is at its essence internally generated.
Sure.
Now, that's a powerful assertion. How does the source reconcile this with what feel like very real external challenges, like, say, a heated political discussion or an unexpected bill hitting your mailbox?
That's a really important clarification. It's not saying external events don't happen, of course they do. But external crises, they say, are often like passing clouds in each person's personal sky, lacking objective reality or permanence except that which you assign to them. So July will offer many opportunities to witness this dynamic. When facing a chaotic situation, be it that heated discussion or an unexpected bill, they advise treating the internal agitation as a brief rain shower passing through your consciousness, reminding yourself it's just local weather that will pass through, rather than a permanent state defining you or your reality.
Okay, so how do we do that in the moment? To help with this, the sources guide you through a simple anchoring technique for peace. Place the hand on your lower abdomen. Take a slow, deep breath in, then release the air very slowly, maybe longer than the inhale, until your abdomen softens. Repeat this, gently lengthening the exhale. This apparently signals to the body that you are safe. Then, consciously shift your attention to something neutral and present nearby, like the hum of a fan, a sunlight pattern on the wall, or just the feeling of your feet on the floor. This pulls the mind away from the spinning narrative of the problem.
Exactly. And developing this microability provides an essential ground wire for July's high energies. It prevents that cosmic voltage, so to speak, from overloading your circuits with stress. Instead, it helps channel that potent energy into inspiration, creative projects, community betterment, or even bold new directions in your life, mission directions that once seemed impossible.
So as we wrap up, remember, everything you cultivate within yourself now is also described as a precious gift for humanity's future. The sources state quite beautifully, the future you seek is not distant. Its wings already beat within your chest.
And And each calm breath you take feeds that field of possibilities and draws those future realities more into the now. In the grand story of Earth, this month, this July, may truly be remembered as the time humanity realized that true planetary transformation begins with something as simple as a single conscious inhale and exhale.
So we invite you to reflect on how you can embody these principles, maybe spread this truth just by example, allowing others to witness your calm and your curiosity, even in the face of chaos.